Okay, so teleporting. Pretty cool concept, right? Like, who hasn't thought about just instantly beaming somewhere else?
Definitely a popular sci-fi trope for sure.
Totally. And you know what? It's not just sci-fi in the world of Minecraft. It's actually like a real thing thanks to the Ender Pearl. And that's what we're diving deep into today. Not just how it works in the game, but also like its real world counterpart.
Interesting. Pearls, huh?
Exactly. And to guide us on this deep dive, we have Duncan Gear's article, Taking Inventory,
Yeah.
Ender Pearl, which, by the way, came out just yesterday.
Oh, wow. Hot off the press.
Right. So anyway, Ender Pearls, they're like, well, they're kind of crucial in Minecraft.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, they're the only way to actually reach the end,
Right,
right?
exactly. That mysterious dimension where the Ender Dragon hangs out.
The final boss.
Yeah,
So we're not just talking about some random fun item here. Ender pearls are tied directly to like the main storyline of Minecraft.
for sure. They're like the key to unlocking that final chapter of the adventure. But before we get all like dragon slaying, let's break down how these Ender Pearls actually work. So uh, anyone who's played knows. You throw an Ender Pearl, and bam, you're across the map. Wherever it lands, that's where you end up.
Instant teleportation. It's pretty awesome, but as Duncan Gear points out, there's a bit of a catch.
A catch?
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful with those throws because, if you miscalculate, you could end up teleporting straight into lava. Ouch.
Not ideal.
Nope, not at all. It's definitely a high risk, high reward kind of mechanic, which honestly makes it even more exciting to use.
Totally. And what's even wilder is that this whole teleportation thing wasn't even part of the original design.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it was a suggestion from some random Reddit user that starked this whole, like, iconic feature.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk about the power of community input. Makes you wonder what other hidden gems are out there in the depths of internet forums.
Yeah. Right. But, okay, let's say you're ready to start flinging yourself across the Minecraft world. First things first, how do you even get your hands on some Ender Pearls?
Well, there are a few ways. The most common one is probably battling Endermen.
Endermen, right? Those tall, shadowy figures.
Exactly, the ones that are always teleporting around.
Yeah, kind of creepy, but also kind of cool.
For sure. Anyway, if you defeat them, there's a 50-50 chance of getting an Ender Pearl. And you can actually boost those odds with the looting enchantment.
So basically, gear up, find some Endermen, and start fighting.
Pretty much. But there's one thing you gotta remember about Endermen. They don't like eye contact at all. If you stare them down, they'll get aggressive.
Oh, right. Always looking away. Adds another layer of challenge to the whole thing.
Definitely. You gotta be strategic about it.
Makes sense. Are there any, like, less intense ways to get Ender Pearls? Maybe something a little less adrenaline pumping?
Actually, yeah. You can also find them tucked away in certain structures, like strongholds or woodland mansions.
So exploration instead of combat.
Exactly. Less fighting, but it can take a bit longer, and you need a good dose of luck.
Interesting. It's cool how the game balances risk and reward.
Yeah.
So let's say you've, braved the Endermen or searched high and low and you finally got a stash of Ender Pearls. What's next? What do you do with them?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. You can combine those ender pearls with blaze powder, which is another pretty rare material, to craft Eyes of Ender.
Eyes of Ender. Okay, and those are...
They're like magic compasses. They point you towards strongholds. Remember those structures I mentioned earlier?
Right, the ones that sometimes have Ender Pearls hidden in them.
Yeah, exactly. But the real importance of strongholds is this. They hold the portal to the end. The final dimension where the Ender Dragon is waiting.
Whoa. So it's like a treasure hunt within a treasure hunt. Find Ender Pearls, make Eyes of Ender, locate a stronghold, and then face the final boss. That's quite a quest line.
It is. And there's strategy involved, too. When you're crafting, you got to be careful not to accidentally turn all your Ender Pearls into Eyes of Ender.
Yeah.
Because there's no going back. Once you craft them, that's it.
Resource management, huh? Sounds like every decision matters.
It does. It's about planning ahead.
It's amazing how this one little item, the Ender Pearl, has so much depth. It's complex, and it's tied to the whole story of the game. But it's funny, we can only dream of teleporting in real life. But the pearl part of the Ender Pearl, that's a real thing.
It is. And it's got a pretty interesting story of its own, too.
Right. It's such a cool contrast. In Minecraft, it's this fantastical teleportation tool. And then in real life, a pearl is this beautiful natural gem.
And yet their origins are far from magical. I mean, in real life, pearls are formed through a process that's basically irritation.
All right.
Yeah. Like Duncan Gear explains in his article, When a tiny bit of something, like a grain of sand or a broken piece of shell, gets inside a mollusk, the creature basically tries to protect itself. It coats the irritant with layers of this smooth, iridescent stuff called nacre.
Nacre.
Right. And over time, that buildup, layer after layer, forms a pearl.
Wow, so a pearl is basically a mollusk's defense mechanism. That's pretty poetic.
It is a gem born from, something annoying. But for centuries, people didn't really understand that process, so they would just harvest tons of shellfish, often killing them, just to find a naturally formed pearl.
That's kind of sad when you think about it.
It is. It shows how much our desire for beauty can, impact the natural world. But luckily, as we learn more about pearls, our methods change too. Nowadays, most pearls are cultured, meaning they're farmed.
Farmed pearls. Okay, so instead of relying on chance and potentially harming a ton of shellfish, we can cultivate these gems in a controlled environment.
Exactly. It's a much more sustainable approach. In fact, over 95% of the pearls we see today are farmed this way.
That's amazing. It makes you wonder, though, back in the Minecraft world, is there a way to farm ender pearls? Like, do players have some secret method?
That's a great question, and honestly, there's no built-in way to farm them. You're kind of stuck with those two main options, battling Endermen or searching for them in structures.
But wouldn't that drive players crazy? Like, if you need a lot of ender pearls, constantly fighting endermen or endlessly searching for them sounds like a real grind.
It definitely can be, and that's where the creativity of the Minecraft community comes in.
Oh, tell me more.
Players have figured out how to build Enderman farms. These are like elaborate contraptions that trap Endermen, making it easier to collect pearls.
Wow. So even within the limits of the game, they're finding solutions, inventing ways to make things easier.
Exactly. That's part of what makes Minecraft so great. It sparks this amazing ingenuity and problem solving.
Totally. So any Minecraft players listening out there, if you're faced with gathering ender pearls, what would you choose? Building a complex enderman farm or taking the classic exploration route? It's your call.
And that's what makes the Ender Pearl such a cool part of the game. It's a gateway to adventure, it makes you think strategically, and it reminds you that even in a virtual world, your choices have consequences.
Well said. So we started with this idea of teleportation, went deep into the world of Minecraft, and ended up exploring the real-world wonders of pearls. It's amazing how one little item can have so many layers of meaning. It really makes you think.
About
Well, about the connections between fantasy and reality. Like, could the science behind pearl formation, that biological process, ever be used to create something that actually mimics teleportation? Maybe, just maybe, the fantastical